Hey. Good morning, y'all. Baby, we back in the building. I first want to say thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Because we have reached 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, and that would not have been possible without you. And if this is your first time joining in the Couples Lounge, you got to go ahead and subscribe so you're not left out on the content that we bring for married couples, because we all need some type of support. We all need the help. We're all out here should be desiring to build a kingdom marriage. So again, thank you. And also, I'm going to tell you before we get started, be prepared, because we have an announcement on Monday in regards to the marriage marriage retreat. And you want to, so if you are not following us on Facebook, on Instagram, you want to go subscribe, because you do not want to miss this announcement. Yes. So I'm your girl Candace. I just got excited. I forgot to even introduce myself. I'm your girl Candace. But baby starts off the show. But go ahead, baby, so I can do what I need to do over here. Go ahead and introduce the show.
Oh, my goodness.
I just got a little excited,
Yeah,
y'all.
you did. Threw me off. Welcome, everybody, to the Couples Lounge. This is your boy, Kappa Man Remon. I got my sexy chocolate chip with me. And we're the Couples Lounge. Well, we do this every week. We talk about love, life, marriage, the culture, anything pertaining to relationships.
All right, I'm sharing that on Facebook, y'all, because we ain't did a live show in a minute. So we live, so I just need to share out real quick. But we got an amazing show, like always, for y'all on today. Just praying and asking that God gets the glory from our show, like that he just uses us as a vessel to do his kingdom work. Like he revealed that to me. I mean, like the Couples Lounge ain't your thing, girl. I gave that to y'all. So that's what we here to do. It's like, okay, this is going to get into the show. Yep, I'm hyped up. I don't know. When I thought about that 1,000 subscribers, that's when I got excited. And so because we are live, expect live things to happen. Okay, I'm just giving y'all a forewarning, because for what I see my child coming this way, when she needs to be in the back with her grandparents, but nevertheless. So today's show is, who are you? Like when I look at Mom, like, who are you? How did I get attached to you? Why did I get attached to you? A lot of times we get married. Most people get married for chemistry and not calling. Most people get married for chemistry because I rock with you, because I loved you, because we fell in love. We got married at 25. We met at 18. We wasn't thinking about no calling on our life. So are you marrying for chemistry or calling?
Chemistry. I'm sorry.
So that's what we're about to have a conversation about on today. Like, if I look at him, what does that reveal? Does it give me a glimpse into the purpose that God has on my life? And I am really adamant about the shows that we are doing nowadays, because they really got to have intentionality for me, really, because people are out here struggling in the union of marriage, in the covenant. And it's way too many people. You marrying and you getting a divorce in a year, 2 years. And I just think it's because we are ignorant to marriage. When I say ignorant, a lack of knowledge and a lack of awareness. And so that is why we do our show, is to give you a godly perspective of marriage, with having real life, knowing real life experiences happen, knowing the human aspect and realizing the human aspect of things, but we have to start looking at our marriage from a godly perspective. So if you're just tuning in, make sure that you share out. You all can talk back to us, but you got to be on YouTube, because I know we shared this to Facebook, but you got to be on YouTube in order to leave your comments or whatever. So how this show came about.
Okay.
I was just sitting up thinking about like A-type women. When I say A-type women, it's women that are ambitious, women goal-driven, organized. She's a boss in her own right. And I began to think about, if I am my husband's helpmate, if God created the woman to help the husband with his call and his purpose as a helpmate, based off who you are married to, have you really just sat and thought about the purpose and the call on your life based off who you married to?
No.
And I think a lot of times,
most of the time,
and if I'm speaking from a woman's point of view, the push that she's given her husband, the helpmate that she was created to be, can come off as irritable to him when he's not in a space to receive. You tripping, or you nagging, or it ain't that serious, or what. But it's her operating in her nature, how God created her, and how she is attached to him. So that's how this show came about, with that thought. And I was gonna do just a live, me and a live, but I thought it would be more powerful to have his perspective and his insight on the whole realm of this. So what is your comment to what I just said?
Most people don't think that way.
Mm-hmm.
Most time when you get married, you're not thinking of, well, in my opinion, of the calling on your life because of who I'm marrying. I don't think very many people are thinking deeply like that.
Yeah.
I think it's surface level. I love this man. I love this woman. Can I live with him?
Mm-hmm.
They're thinking manly, worldly.
Okay.
They're not thinking in a godly perspective at all, especially when you're getting married young. Man, if you get, if you marry at a later age, possibly, yeah. But when you're young, 25, 30, most people are not, no, we're not thinking like that. So when you say that, that's deep, because most people are not thinking that deep.
Right. And for those that don't realize, if you are a wife, in the Bible, it mentions that we are Ezer. It's a Hebrew word for helpmate. And that person, as that is, and I'm gonna kind of just read a little bit, as the woman, we are reflecting God's own nature, because outside of us, Holy Spirit is the other Ezer that is referenced. So when you are your husband's helpmate, you are literally operating as God's own nature to your husband. You are that strong partner. You are that life bringer to his life. You are his purpose partner. And so I encourage you, you have to walk in that, even if your husband isn't ready to receive that, or like he said, we're not even getting married thinking about calling. And so it is enlightening. Look, I didn't discover this. When did I speak about the power of a wife? 2023 is when I discovered about Ezer after being married at that point 20 years. 20 years. Yes, I heard about helpmate. Yes, I heard all of that. But it was never broken down that I am literally the nature, reflecting the nature of God for my husband. And that is a game changer, to be able to walk in that, stand in in that power. And I will offer to the husbands to, even if, and I know I started this out talking about like a woman that has a type personality, but you can also have a woman that is not in that realm. She may be a more, maybe like soft spoken. She may not be a type woman, but her divine connection with God. I just really need you to sit for a moment and think about your wife, who your wife is, her personality, her qualities, her talents. Think about her right now and all that she just is outside of you, who she is. And if God gave her to you as a gift, if your spirit selected this woman, or you made the choice to select this woman, what does that say about the purpose on your life, the calling on your life? Because she is here to help you. Even if she's soft-spoken, even if she not like just this boss type woman, even in her softness and her personality, how beneficial is that to you for your purpose and who God called you to be?
Hey. Again, how many men you think like that?
No, that's why we're doing this show. So if you're watching this show without your boo, go get your boo. If you're engaged, go get your boo. If you are dating somebody and you're seriously thinking about marriage with them, y'all need to be watching this show together. And if your marriage is in a place where there's chaos and confusion and discord, go get your boo. Because as long as chaos and confusion and all of that is present, it will cause you to distance from your purpose. That's the scheme of the enemy. Like, if I can keep y'all divided, y'all won't fulfill the call that on your life like God wants you to. But the enemy don't have that kind of power. We give him the power. That's why he got to keep trying to come this way, or I'm gonna come. He only has access, and I always go back to the movie Sinners. It's not until you invite him in, not until you say, "Come on." However that come on looks, I welcome you in through this app, through this conversation, through this rejection, through this rebellion, whatever the case may be, you invite him in. And it keeps you off of what God has called you to do, collectively and individually.
I said most men don't think that way, but how many women think that way?
Not men. I will say I don't even know no percentage. I'm gonna make up one. Going into a marriage, most of us, I'm gonna say 90% of us don't realize the things that we are talking about right now on this show. When they said "I do," they did not know it.
Right.
Most people, neither one of us did.
Right.
Most people don't have, or not even getting premarital counseling / coaching. For those that are of us that are, is it really spiritually aligned?
Right.
Or are they talking about all the fleshly human things?
Right.
So yeah, we are not being made aware.
No.
We're not being made aware.
No. Yeah, and let me take it a little step further. How many parents are telling their sons and daughters this while they're dating or engaged?
But you can't tell them what you don't know.
Dang. Yeah. Yeah. But I would like to think parents are having those type of conversations once you realize your son or daughter is getting engaged and about to get married. Now we need to have some real deep conversations. about marriage, God, and the other person that they're marrying. I would, if this is my son and my daughter, not to discourage them.
Right.
By no means am I saying that, but just to make them aware of the significance of the next step that they're about to take. And by saying I do.
Yeah.
Right. In all aspects
of it. Yeah. And I think if you're, I would say, I think my hope is that we start giving both sides of it. Not, I mean, the spiritual side, like people, I know people that will say, you got to make sure that you have God in your life. But a lot of believers know God, but don't know God. Yeah, I know it's a God, but you don't live like you know it's God. You don't read the word so that you can really know God. You know of God, but you don't know God in a way that where he is, you are actively seeing him in your life. So a lot of times we are speaking from a surface level understanding. I won't say a surface level, a babe's understanding, a immature or lack of knowledge when it comes to God versus someone mature in the faith. So it is good to to definitely let people know you got to have God in your marriage. But what does that really mean? What do you take it at when to have God in your marriage? Just like right now today, what do you know that to be?
Leading my marriage, the center point, focal point of my marriage.
How does that look in application?
Seeking him for seeking, same thing. Coming to him for decisions, about decisions for my marriage. Talking to him about my marriage, reading his word and his not his understanding, his commandments when it comes to my marriage and how we should move.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm trying to. I didn't know if you have, but most people don't say that. It's just make sure God is in your marriage. So it's like, what does that really mean?
Right.
So if we now, thank y'all for tuning in. This is the mark. Thank you for tuning in. If you missed the first 15 minutes, we made an announcement. Thank you. First and foremost for our 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. Second, we have an announcement about the marriage ministry on Monday, but you need to be following us on Facebook and Instagram or TikTok at the Tux. Everything else is the Couples Lounge. And so if we think about who we even married as from a husband perspective, thinking about our husbands as the lead, God has assigned him as our lead, as our protector, as the priest of the home, and understanding who you married from that sense. And I'm gonna say twofold. Even if the husband doesn't know who he is as a wife, it is my job to see the God in him, to remind myself that this man is made in the image of God. He is God's masterpiece. And that within him, if he's a believer, the Holy Spirit is within him. So I have to be willing to recognize who I marry. I got to be able to recognize what my husband's giftings are, his talents are. I got to look at his personality and see how God could be using him. Like, and we joked on one of the last shows, he was talking about how we FBI agents and how we if you think your wife ain't paying attention, you are mistaken. As God's helpmate, if I am assigned to somebody to help them, if you think about somebody that's somebody assistant, you are my assistant for my business, my personal life. Right. I gotta be so locked in. I have to be watching you. I have to know you because I'm on this side working for you. So I gotta know, oh, he like that. Oh, she don't like that. Or prepare her room like this. Or you gotta be that locked in to them. Right. But I would also ask, and I'm gonna want to shift a little bit to, if you're knowing who you married, does his personality irritate you? But in that bold personality, what is he really called to do? And because women sometimes have an issue with control. You want to control. You want to control when he's been assigned to lead. Are you comfortable with him leading based off what you see, based off what you know, based off his assignment?
Why do you think men struggle with accountability? I don't understand that. What makes you say that?
I ain't even said that. He reading my notes. I have not even got to that. But go ahead and ask the question.
Why do you think men resist accountability? Because I would actually flip that and say that's women, not men.
Okay. So this was the thought for us to this is the thought, and I just wanted his perspective. It wasn't necessarily my thought. I wanted his opinion on it.
Okay, well, opinion.
So let me read the statement. Most men resist accountability. Most women struggle with releasing control.
I agree and disagree. I don't believe men resist accountability. I believe that's women.
How does accountability look for a man?
Accountability, acknowledging. When I first heard that, acknowledging when they messed up.
Okay.
And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
That's
accountability? Yes. No, well, that's what I initially think of accountability. Accepting your responsibility and acknowledging your wrongdoings. If I'm wrong or make a mistake, I was wrong. I don't believe men struggle, or not. You didn't say struggle. Resist that. I believe that comes from women. I don't believe men. I believe women resist and struggle with accountability. I truly believe. And you hear women. Hell, you hear women say that. I believe women struggle with releasing control. Because they do, but it's easier for them to release control when they trust their partner. The older the woman gets, if she's been single for so long and doing it for so much on herself, I believe that's more of a struggle, because you've been in a pattern for 30, 40 years. However old, of this is me, I'm doing it. Picture a woman 45 years old, 46 years old and single, and been single. And now I'm married and I got to release. I believe that could be difficult. So yeah, I agree and disagree with that statement.
Or when I see resist accountability, I don't even want to say wrong, because that I don't even want to take it that way. I want to take it to resist accountability as when I see how God's assignment for you. God has called you to lead. God has called you to be the covering for your family. God has called you are called to love your wife, your family in a certain type of way. The husband is the covenant keeper because you are the leader. And I'm thinking from a spiritual perspective. And so when a wife or somebody hits you, I won't even say hit you with that, or do you resist how God is calling you to be accountable to your family? Are you resisting that? I'm not talking about no wrong. I ain't talking about no cheat. I ain't talking.
If in that regards, I believe that's both. That's not one. That's not just man. I believe man and woman resist that.
Okay. And I'm just playing. Okay.
Putting it that way, that's both. That's not one or the other. That's I can't put that on just women. I can't put that on just men. I can't say that's what women. Nope, that's both.
Okay. So I would say this: as husbands, you got to be real clear on a husband that doesn't have a relationship with God. And when I say a relationship with God, you are intentional. You can go back and watch our show on Kingdom Men. If a husband It's not because your role and what God has called you to do is so hefty. I feel as a leader, you gotta have a relationship with God. You have to be following God. Period. Point blank. You have to, because you are leading your whole house as the leader. And so a husband that is to know that you are a covenant keeper, to know that you are spiritually charged with covering, loving.
Covenant keeper, you got to explain it. What is a covenant keeper?
Covenant. If you look at your marriage is a covenant. It is a binding with you and God. It's this connection with you and God. And as a husband, you are the keeper. You are the one that is, you are God gave you that responsibility to cover, to love, to protect your wife in a divine order. And so if the husband does, as the leader, when a husband operates under the influence of God, it makes it that wife that is resistant, that wife that struggles, that wife that I don't know, D and Sam's always come up for me because I watch a lot of their show. When Sam was like, that's a shame. We've been on a whole double date with D and Sam.
Oh, they got a show.
They were on our show. Oh, y'all pray for his memory.
I'm thinking you talking about somebody that has a show that you watch it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I think about him when he was like, when I married her, I knew she had the trauma, but I didn't realize how God was calling, like my assignment for her, and what that was really going to entail, and how I really have to shift and be with her, because I am the husband. I am the one that's called to her. I'm called to lead her. I'm called to love her in a way, even with all of the trauma that she comes with. And so when that wife is resistant, when that wife is struggling, if you got a husband that is leading you under the covenant of God, you show her how to be that even when she struggles. You show her how to be that when she is resistant. And you're showing her in more ways than one, because I see how my husband is showing up even in this perspective, or I see how he comes. But you cannot do that, be that type of lead without following God. You cannot be all that God called you to be without literally being up under him, and us being in the divine order. And I know a lot of times on our show, we have talked about the divine order: God, husband, wife, kids, then everybody else. If that husband, if it's God, and that husband is over here, and you're not following God, you ain't got a relationship with you. Do you see how now there is a disconnect in your entire household? It is a disconnect. And so, yeah, and I do, when I looked at this other part, most women struggle with releasing control. I think that comes from a lot of, not a lot. I think it stems from raised by single parent, a mother that held it down. She was doing all the things and teaching as a woman, you gotta fight for you. You gotta make sure you good regardless. But she's not teaching her necessarily to prepare for being a wife.
Oh,
she's not. And unconsciously, she's not. I'm teaching you how to hold it down, make sure you good, make sure you can take care of your kids. And she's showing her that without even telling her that, because she's having to do it without the help of a man. I feel like it is just I think about how, as a woman, how we are kind of wired for as when I look at, even in middle school, when you look at a girl and a boy, how they move, how they operate, It's just totally different.
Night and day.
We are created differently.
Night and day.
And so I think as a woman, we are just geared to kind of like take care of business and make sure things are in order. It's just how we are wired. And if you've been doing that so long and then you get a man and a husband, you are literally breaking a pattern. You have to be willing to break this pattern of, I got to take care of everything by myself. I got to do this. I got to just depend. You got to be all right with breaking that pattern. Definitely if you have a husband, and I won't even say definitely, if you have a husband, period, and you pray and ask that, I mean, you hope that he has the wherewithal to lead. And I know the people that we work with, the women that I've talked to, not even that we work with, but that I talk to, even the husbands are unsure of their role. They're not confident in their role as a husband. And that is that protection that a woman needs is now in jeopardy, and she feels like she got to hold it down for both people, because right now, and this ain't, and I ain't even, let me correct that too. I ain't just talking about, I don't just talk to women. I talk to men too. And it is very clear that even men are unaware of their role, how to move in their role. But
I think men don't know. I'm not gonna say they're unclear. They may not be aware of all things. They're not unclear of their role for as certain aspects. But yeah, to say they just unclear of the role now, I won't go there. But because men know, okay, as a husband, I have to work, I have to provide, I have to protect. That is a part of their role. They know that. So they get that part. Other things they might not know. Does that make sense?
What do you think that the men are not aware of when it comes to marriage? They get, I gotta work, I gotta provide. That's working and providing, same thing. Yeah. What is it that men are not aware of?
The spiritual aspect of leading your household, and how to move and how to love your wife in very specific manners, things of that. When you get spiritual and biblical of that, but in my opinion, that's both parts. I think women know the surface part only. They don't know the other aspect of it too. I think this is not a man or a woman. I think it's both.
I think women naturally lead. What God called her to do, we naturally do that. When I say naturally, not that's they call us to lead.
Yeah, I mean naturally lead.
No, not lead. I don't mean to say lead, because we're not called to lead in that perspective. We are as a helpmate. What God called, we naturally do that. And we naturally do that because we are mama. We are nurturers. We always want to say, do this, do that. We naturally help people, even when we ain't married. We kind of moving in it, but we are unclear of the power of it in marriage. And I feel like, and if I look at how I have been over the course of 23 years, one of my other things was on my notes, as wives, we have to ask ourselves, when we are pushing, encouraging, speaking to our husbands about certain things, for us trying to guide, are we guiding in love, or are we trying to take over? Are you being a helpmate out of love, or are you trying to take over and be in control, lead, make sure you get your way, etc.? And so as I sat with this show, I had to look at young Candace in marriage. When I would come and tell him certain things, I absolutely wanted it to go the way that I said, because I felt like it was right. It was the thing that we needed to do. And so when I came and said, we need to do this or whatever, in my mind, I was expecting it. That is how I was gonna go. I wasn't necessarily trying to take over, but I was definitely trying or thinking it was gonna go my way. And when it didn't, it caused whatever it caused here. But as I have grown throughout the years, and I just, if you follow us, my pivotal shift was in 1999. I mean, what am I thinking about? 2020. 2020. So 2019, 2020 is where I had my pivotal shift, where I became more spiritual and seeing things more spiritual. And so now, and it's still a learning. Now, as a wife, it is, I'm just choosing to do it God's way. And it far as me being a helpmate, I'm gonna do that in power too. Even when I feel resistance, even when it may not go the way I feel like, I still feel like you gotta do what God calls you to do. But that causes me, I gotta have a relationship with God. I gotta take things to prayer. I gotta say, okay, God, are you calling me at this moment to pull back? But you gotta have a relationship with God. And so I look at how I have transformed over the years and how I am a helpmate to him. And even understanding who I married, his personality, how big his personality is, to know how to approach, how to offer, etc. And so it's wives, we have to be mindful of how we are showing up. Are you trying to guide and help him out of love, or so that is it a takeover so that you can get your way and have it your way? It's a lot of compromise in marriage. But let me get back to the show, the glimpse. Who you married. Thank y'all for tuning in to the Couples Lounge. Are you aware of who you married, and are you looking at them from a place of, based off my calling? Based off my calling, who have I attached myself to? Based off my calling. I'm gonna let you, because I've been going. I'm gonna let you speak.
Yeah, you really have. Um, yeah, you said, good Lord, you said a lot.
So you got a lot to comment on.
One, let me go back because I couldn't get my word in.
Don't do that. You wasn't even trying to get a word in. You were looking at your.
No, baby, I just picked up my phone. I promise. But
we're
when
not.
you go
Okay.
back and look,
okay.
Again, men and women, no surface, strictly surface. When you say I truly talking to men, women may think they're being helpmates a lot of the times, but the women today sometimes I think struggle with it. And I believe that could be because of the husband. I truly believe part of it is the husband's fault, and I believe part of it is growing up in single parent household, as you stated, seeing their mother do it all. And then when you look at society, how things are moving, totally different. For as how to be a wife, how to move as a wife. Let me ask you a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think wives today or learn from the previous generation, from the mothers?
In what way?
How to be a wife. And I'm not talking about cooking and cleaning. A man, Forrest, a man knows I gotta go to work, I gotta provide, I gotta protect. Most women know I should cook and clean, and that is getting, and some women are not doing that anymore. So I think they know that part. I gotta cook, I may need to clean, but I think women, you hear women today, well, I work, so I don't have to do it like my mom or grandmama used to do. So sometimes that get diluted. But
So ask me your question again.
did women today learn how to move as wives from the previous generation, and minus the cooking and cleaning? Because I don't think that's as big as it used to be because of career roles.
I think history is relevant in multiple ways. So I definitely believe a woman has learned how to be a wife based off if she saw it. What and that can look different depending on who was your teacher. When I say who was your teacher, who were you watching?
Yes.
Yeah, I say yes, but learning how to be a wife depending on who you watch, because I could saw my mama be a wife that disrespected my dad, talk crazy to my dad, what was not up under leadership, did not do. I saw that as a wife, so I learned, and so I learned how to be a wife in that way. And if I am not careful, I don't shift that, and I don't get a relationship with God, and I figure out how God calls me to be a wife, I'm going to show up just like that with my husband until either my husband knows how to lead, how to care for me, how to comfort me, how to break that pattern down in a loving way. I saw this one man tell his wife, well, he was engaged to her, and he was like, this wall that you have up, you gotta be willing to let it down so I can love you, so I can show you something different. So I absolutely believe
got to do that too.
I absolutely believe that the generation prior has taught us how to be a wife, but have they taught us how to be a godly wife? I ain't even saying a godly wife. So I can only teach you what I know. So we've all learned based off of what we've seen, good, bad, or indifferent.
Right.
But once you make a commitment to this covenant, you got to now take it upon yourself to find out, because you're going to have experiences, you're going to have challenges, you're going to have stuff that's going to come up.
And the reason why one of the reasons why I asked, because women are seeking for divorce more. And all of the times it's not because of infidelity. So if women are the main ones seeking for divorce, what was they taught and how to be a good, when I say good, godly wife, then I believe the ball was dropped in that regards too. And I don't think and again, I'm saying both. I hear you.
But wait, hold on.
Men, I'm actually saying man and woman.
Okay.
Man and woman don't know their godly duties, what God called you to be as husband and wife.
I can't
deeper.
I definitely agree with that. Yeah, and that's the whole reason I love what we do. I love the show because I believe it is both.
I heard oh man, I almost said too much. I spoke to someone. They were going to counseling. Well, actually, I talked. One was recently. I heard this previously, and I don't know how long ago it was, a couple of months though. But it was at the Cigar Lounge for the first one months ago. The second one, man, I almost said too much. You're gonna know who people know who I'm talking about, so I ain't gonna say that. But I spoke to somebody that was going to counseling. They were seeing a woman counselor. He said, wife was just adamant, we gotta go to counseling, we're going to counseling, and was adamant. He said, but the woman, the counselor, kept pointing out how she was moving, and he said, my wife no longer want. We don't need to go to counseling no more. I think she
wasn't ready.
And no, she was ready, but when they were speaking on him, loving him, she couldn't wait to go. But when it shifted to how she was moving, how she was showing up, and she was pointing out the things she was doing and not pointing out the things he was doing as much, she no longer wanted to go. That was the second brother I heard say that.
And I say she wasn't ready because she wasn't ready. Because if you were ready, you are able to walk through your healing no matter how hard it may be. People, the fact is, people are not ready. And they may say they are, but once it comes, healing is I don't want to use the word hard. Healing is challenging. And you got some people, well, I feel like she felt like whoever that person was, right, she saw that healing was needed or change was needed, but she thought it maybe was just him.
Yeah.
Or she felt like it could have been her as well, but oh no, that counselor was stepping on some things and it became a challenge for her.
And I think I ain't gonna say most. I think a lot of people struggle when it's directed at them. When the spotlight is on their faults, and I'm not gonna say man or woman. I'm saying both again on that. That when the spotlight is on what you're doing wrong, they have a problem with it.
And I would for that I would offer this understanding us a light is trying to drive out darkness.
Right. Because it's easy to tell you what you're doing and how you're not doing it. But now when it's directed towards that person, all kind of excuses and reasoning come up. But there's no excuse or reason for you. But when I do it, it's I got every excuse, every reason in the book that's valid. Apparently it's valid because I'm giving it. But ain't nothing you can say that's valid. It's just you're not showing up, you're not being who you're supposed to be. And I think if anybody that's listening to this, if that's you, be aware of that. Like really be aware.
Say that again.
It's easier for me to say what Candace is doing wrong, how she's not showing up, how whatever she's doing wrong. She ain't this, she ain't that. And no excuse or reasons that she gives why she's not showing up, why this is this makes any sense to me. It's not valid. But when Candace points out what Remon is doing wrong, I have every excuse, every reason, and it's valid. What I'm saying is a person can easily point the finger and see your faults, but now when my faults are brought up to light, there's a reason for it. And I'm saying stop.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
So I want to offer this to our married couples.
Because I'm sure that happens.
Let's be mindful of our wording too. Because as long as no. Oh. I'm just saying words matter. So when you bring up you did something you wrong or it's your fault. If you present things in that way, again, you're gonna have to pray. You got to ask Holy Spirit, because some stuff is, for me, where I'm at now, growth is I'm very reluctant to call things wrong unless it's sin. Unless I'm like clear, God has said that right there is out of alignment, that is darkness. That other than that, a lot of other things are our perspectives on certain things. So you feel like I'm at fault or you think I'm wrong, and your spouse may not be able to receive those words. So just being mindful of how we communicate, the things that we say, the energy that, because even with your words come an energy. Because if I'm thinking in my mind, oh, he wrong, or I'm finna blame him for that, you coming with a certain type of energy. And so not only are your words coming with that type of energy, your body language, your tone, and all of that. And for somebody who at some point we all ain't ready to hear what we need to hear, because that's a place in us that is trying to be healed. And our ego will want to separate us. Our ego want to make us comfortable. Our ego want to keep us protected. Our ego want to make us think, no, I can't hear this, because it keeps us separated from the truth. So just being mindful of your words.
Right. Also, I wanted to say this. When we spoke about it earlier, it is important to truly know what God is asking a husband and wife to be. If you know that, then you'll know the type of spouse you're moving. You say, do you know your spouse?
Mm-hmm.
If I know what God is asking for a wife to be and how a wife's supposed to move,
mm-hmm.
then I'm watching you a little bit more closely.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not looking at the surface. I'm not looking at the body as much. You're going to look,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not solely focused on that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not solely focused on your hair. I'm seeing how you move. If wives, if women start watching men in that light, then you'll know, wait a minute, who am I married now? Who am I with? Because I ain't even married you yet.
Yeah.
So who am I with if I look deeper? But again, you have to be in the word first and foremost for that. David Justice did a podcast, all the smoke with Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson. He talked about Haley Berry. I mean, like, yeah, at the time he was young. And I think he was 30. I think he said 30. Superstar, budding superstar with the Atlanta Braves for no, they went to the World Series. They lost it. Haley Berry was up and coming, but she was beautiful, obviously. But it's starting to catch fire. So their relationship was big. It was, tabloids. It was big. Everybody loved because they was a good looking couple. He said the reason he called it quits, he said she didn't cook, she didn't clean. He said she wasn't very motherly. And this is verbatim.
I heard it. I saw it.
So when he said that, he looked at his mother and like, yeah, I ain't gonna better do this one. He looked deeper.
And they were already married though.
No, they wasn't married.
Yes, they were. Because he got a divorce.
Yeah, they was married. But he looked deeper once he got in it. But so you kind of might waited a little too late. But the point I was making is how he eventually started to look. When you're dating, you can get so infatuated with the new love, because when it's new, it's exciting.
Yeah.
Everything is good in the beginning. Get comfortable with each other to where now I get to see who Remon is, who Candace get to see who Remon is. Because when it's new, I'm opening doors, I'm texting, I'm calling at night. Good night. How was your day? Did you have a good day? Okay. You're fixing my plate. You're doing all this in the beginning, so you're not. You kind of got blinders on, if that makes sense. The point I'm making, I'm sure I'm talking too much now, is look deeper. We spoke on that earlier. Who did you really marry? Who did you really marry? I asked the question, and here's the question I asked. Who are you supposed to marry? What type of woman are you supposed to marry? What type of man are you supposed to marry? What type of man do you need? What type of woman do you need? What type of woman is God calling you to have? Because if you're not careful, you can get caught up in the physical and the financial and what a person is doing, and you're not looking deeper. But again, if you're not knowing what God is asking a man to be and how he's supposed to move, how he's supposed to talk, how he's supposed to think, you may miss out and actually marry someone at the moment that you I'm not going to say may not should have, but I truly believe there are people who are married that probably shouldn't have got married. You might not should have married. Not to say that person can't change, but are you willing to go through the fire, go through a little hell to see him walk through that and come out a different person? I don't know. What? I see your mind.
No, I'm just as you were speaking, I'm like, what?
Because a lot of people don't think how many people truly think like that? Can this man be a godly man. At first, is he a godly man? First and foremost, is she a godly woman? First and foremost, can she move first? Can she move? Can he move in that manner? Is he moving in that manner? Third, what the hell is a godly man?
Mm-hmm.
What should a godly man be doing? Yeah, the man works. He provides. He's a great provider. He's not mean to me, but is that it?
Because you can marry
is that it?
You can marry
Is the sex good, but is that it?
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna change too. Is that it? Because if that's it, that's fine for a while, but all of a sudden, it might not be enough. Because you're going to change, he's going to change, especially if you marry young. What? I'm looking at your mind.
I have so much to say, and I ain't got enough time to say it. Meaning, it could actually be a whole nother show. All the stuff that's going on in my mind. So I'm gonna try to speak fast right here. What I heard you say is a lot of times I am conscious, and I'm guilty of telling people do everything you can before you try to get a divorce. But my mind has always been read together, go to counseling, go to the. I don't think I've ever put it in this way. So I'm going to put it in this way right now. Before you consider a divorce, doing all that you can needs to start with both of us in our marriage. Let's truly try to live in our marriage according to what God says. Let's both make a commitment. And even if one doesn't make the commitment, I'm going to give it all I got by having a different type of relationship with God, a different type of relationship with myself, so that I can know that I stood in my godly assignment as a wife or husband, that I have tried to make my marriage work according to God. So let me, even if he don't want to partner with me and say, we're going to do this, I'm going to say yes to God, or I'm going to do this with God, let me do all that I'm supposed to do. Or if this girl is out the chain, all her trauma, boop, and I'm trying to live for God, but she don't want to come, she don't want to go to church, she don't want to follow my leadership, and I'm trying to lead from a godly perspective. Given all that you got, let it be. Let me live how God is calling me to live. And I want you to understand this too. Living how God calls you to live, ain't nothing weak about that. It's strength. God is strength. God is power. He's love, but he's also a disciplinary. God is both. And that's something I need to correct too, because on one show, God corrected me in this manner. On one show, I said God was more of a woman. God is both. God is not a gender. God is both. He is both. He is a leader and he is a helpmate. He is both. So before you throw in the towel, before you give up on your marriage, you live how God is calling you to live. And in that don't mean being a doormat. That don't mean being abused emotionally, physically, spiritually, and tolerating that. That don't mean that. That don't mean that. And if you are connected with God, God gonna speak to you about no, you don't know. This is what you need to say. This is how you need to respond. This is what you need to do. So that's what I would ask before you get ready to say we are complete with this marriage. You give all that you can give by having a relationship with God, going on your own spiritual journey. Will it be challenging when you are with someone that is not in that space? It will be. But you're going to discover who you really are. You're going to build up some muscles that you didn't realize that you had. You're going to heal. Your marriage mirrors you. Your marriage is going to show you. And so I don't want to say that. So when it comes to who you marry, them giving you a glimpse of your purpose, of your call on your life, you got to really sit with that. You got to really, and I'm going to preach this till I die because I believe this is what God has called me to do. We cannot do marriage without God leading. And that leadership, husbands, you can't be the best husband you can be without it's a hefty assignment on y'all as leaders. It just is. You can point out your wife ain't doing this, your wife ain't whoop the whoop. Baby, God has called you to be the leader. And if you look at the leader in any organization, that person is held to a higher standard, a higher responsibility than anybody, because I get to show you how to be what I see as greatness. I get to show you how to be what's going to lead this company, what's going to lead this school, what's going to lead. I get to show you. And I think about, like, even with my principal and in this new position that we have and the new things that are going on, you're going to have people that are resistant. They can be amazing teachers, but they got, are you going to match their energy, or are you going to say, let me show you how to do this? But you got to be tuned and tapped into your wife to see, oh, that's where she struggled at right there. So how can I lead her? Not even with saying anything. Because as he said before, your wife is watching you. So if you are leading and moving in a certain way, she already peeping it. She sees it. And then you get to just show her. I get to teach you. I get to move in this way. And so I think I'm going to lead that. That will be my somebody should have told me, if it's something that last part would be. Mine. So for those of you that desire to reshape your marriage, to really get an understanding of your assignment as a husband, as a wife, if you are ready to reconnect in your marriage, if you are ready to evolve, if you realize we absolutely can do something better in our marriage, you have an opportunity to join us at our marriage retreat. It is October the 30th through November the 2nd. It has been designed in a way that you cannot leave the same, that you cannot be there and not experience God, that your marriage will be different. You're going to hear something different. You're going to see something different. And if you refuse to change, that's just because you being rebellious to God. You're refusing to surrender. You are rejecting yourself. If you show up any place where God is present and you don't leave changed and committed to the change, that's on you. Katrina said that to the ladies when we went to the prison ministry. If you don't go get what God has placed in the room, you don't want it. And then you got to question, you got to ask yourself, why don't you? Because it's really about you. You can make it about your husband. You can make it about your wife. It's really about you. So thank y'all for tuning in to the Couples Lounge show. Thank y'all. We will be back here same time next week. So just sit with today based off who I know my spouse is to be. How is this attached to my purpose and the calling that's on my life? I love y'all. Bye.